for February 19th, 2025. Welcome, and I hope you and yours are avoiding to the best of your ability the flu bug or whatever else is out there. But some of us look a little peaked. Some of us look like, it's caught us or what have you, but I hope you avoid it to the best of your abilities. Okay. We have the minutes of the January 8th of 2025 meeting. Are there any edits, corrections, um, additions, whatever one would want?
I just have a clarification under the legal part where it
Yes.
says, I don't know, the way that it's phrased is a little awkward to me. There was no public comment regarding Perea. It said no comment period, and that's not true. There was a period. There was a opportunity to provide comment. Nobody provided any comments. I just would like that to be clarified.
So maybe we would make an edit. There was no public comment for
Yeah.
Perea and take out the
Yeah.
period. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, because there was a period. There was a time
Yes,
that's
there was.
required by statute,
Okay.
so yeah. But yeah.
Duly noted. Is there any other edits, corrections, or modifications? Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept with the revised minutes as just stated?
I'll make the motion.
Norris makes a motion, and who was second? I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
All right, Jen is second. Comments by the commission? Hearing none. Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstentions. Great. Okay. I'm going to hold off the comments or concerns of any person presented toward the end. I have two different items. So the next thing is on the agenda is old business. Mr. Nardella Jr., RCG applicant, seeks an extension of the RSP to pass the PSI exam. As we all know, Mr. Nardella and I work for the same company and so forth. And as I have done before, I'm going to recuse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the camera on, but I'm leaving the room. And Mr. Nardella is in the Stanford office somewhere. And when he is done with, when you folks are all done and Mr. Nardella is done, he will give me the high sign or what have you, and then I'll be coming back to join. Okay? So please let the record show that I am recused myself and leaving the room. Thank you.
All right, you want me to jump in here? Mr. Nardelli, can you state your name and business address for the record?
Sure, it's Robert Nardella, RobertNardella. I work at 107 Elm Street in Stamford, Connecticut.
And is your supervisor here?
He is, yes.
Is that Eric?
Eric Michelle, yep.
Eric, can you state your name and spelling of your last name and your address for the record?
Yep, Eric Michelle, Michel. Work address is the same as Rob's. My home address, 29 Catherine Street, Trumbull, Connecticut.
Okay. All right. And I know you've come before us before, but Deb, you want to say anything before he starts?
The reason he was delayed, or this was put off from the previous meetings, was because he had some courses of qualifying education to complete. Since then, he's completed his courses since the last time he appeared before us and sent in his certificate. So he's all set as far as his education, his qualifying education goes.
And when does this 6-year term expire?
Hold on one second. I just brought this up. It expired on December 31st. The 6th year was February 16th of 23, but he received extensions. And this last extension that he was granted, he had received a 90-day extension on the condition that he complete his remaining qualifying education within 30 days, which he was unable to do. So the extension didn't go into effect. So that's why it expired, December 31st of 24.
All right, so you're saying that, can you go back and refresh all of us? So he was given an extension at what time? The last extension
In December,
at the
Um,
December meeting.
December meeting, he was given a 90-day extension of his license, his provisional license, on the condition that he complete his remaining qualifying education within 30 days. He was unable to meet that 30-day mark, so the extension did not go into effect.
Okay, so we gave the extension under the condition that he would finish it within 30 days?
Yes.
And, okay, but that extension would bring him up through March 30th of this month of
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
Did we specifically
Mr.
state, let me finish, did we specifically state in our, that we specifically state that it was contingent on him finishing the education in 30 days, or it was just, did he say he was gonna finish it in 30 days?
No, it was a condition. Shauna brought that up and it was passed. I'm just looking for the minute I can send you. Hold on one second, please. Hmm. Oh, here it is. It was at the November meeting. No, it was at the December meeting, sorry. December meeting. Yep. So it says here that for RSP extension requests, Commissioner Barone made a motion to approve a 90-day extension contingent that his coursework is completed within 30 days. Commissioner Hawkins seconded the motion. The motion passed unanimously.
Okay. So, Robert, can you explain why you didn't get the courses done within 30 days? But you got them done now. They're all done now.
Yes, everything's completed now. Yes, when we had met last time, I had mentioned I didn't think it was possible to complete in the 30 days. I was looking for 2 months. I was able to complete my last general class within 4 days, and unfortunately, you're subject to the Pearson Testing Center, which the earliest time I could take the test was after the date, which was January 11th. I was able to take the test, I believe, on the 16th, which I passed. And then I completed my last electives shortly thereafter. But yeah, between, working full time, the end of the year is the busiest time for us here, as I'm sure it is for you. And yeah, I was able to get through most of my classwork shortly after the close of business of 24.
All right. And what are you requesting now?
So I would like to, I haven't been able to work in Connecticut for about a month and a half now, which has definitely affected me financially. It's, this is my livelihood, and I work mainly in the state of Connecticut. So at this point, I was hoping to request 120 days, and between that now and then, take the certification test. I know, Debbie had mentioned in the past, there's a 70% fail rate for the first time you take it. And, I do plan on obviously passing the first time, but, I don't want to come back here and, have to request more time, if that doesn't happen the first time. So,
But, Debbie, I want to ask you a question. He has renewed his provisional license, right? So his provisional license, even though the 6-year mark is up, is that still in effect until April 30th?
No,
No,
no.
because it's because of this thing. Okay.
Yeah, because he was given extensions, so his 6-year would have been up in February of 23. Because he got his first in March of 23. He got his first issuance on March 8th of 2017. So 6 years would have been 23, March of 23.
And your
And the
experience credits are done, right?
Yes.
Yes, yep.
All right, so before we go to anybody else has any questions, I have one more question, and that is if he expired, technically expired within 30 days, which would have been January 30th of 2025, if we extended him 30 days from would have been that date, doesn't matter, approximately that date. If he's now completely expired and we give him an extension, are we doing anything against, maybe Vicky can jump in here too, because in the past, when we had somebody completely expire, they're supposed to start over again. Am I wrong about that? Vicky, Deb?
I'm listening. I mean, I'm listening. I don't recall. I don't recall a person who had expired. I'm not certain that that didn't happen. I just don't recall a person that had expired. What I
And
can
what-
say, if the person had to start over, I think that's a real hardship. So I'm not gonna, I don't think I have to make that argument. I think that's pretty apparent.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not doing anything that's going to get our, the feds are going to say no to. All right, because I do remember we had that one appraiser who gave up his license and came back, and we had issues with, does he start over? Does he not start over? And then I remember we had a woman who came in and her 6-year term had expired and she had to start over. I do remember that one. She was from the Bloomfield area. Um, that was going back when we were meeting at the other state offices.
Oh, 165 Capitol.
Yeah, yeah. Eric?
Yeah,
Mr.
hi,
Schiff?
John. You're using the word expired. I think, being at the last meeting, I listened to the process, and it seemed as if you gave the 30 days because you felt that how could you pass all the courses and then have a window to pass the exam, which was the end goal. And that's why you use the 30 days. You felt if you gave the 60 days, the 30 more days wouldn't be enough time for him to pass. But just my interpretation of that meeting was it's not expired. It just his license, it was suspended because of this issue. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but it just seems expired doesn't seem to be the right word.
Does other commissioners have any questions?
One quick question. Whether it's Debbie or Vic, what are our options? Because he's passed everything. What are the options that we can do with this gentleman?
I would just like to chime in for a second and just say that his license is inactive at the moment. He has gone past his 6-year clearly. He's received multiple extensions, but now he's completed all of his QE. He's paid for, a full year of the license if it's approved to reactivate it. Since I've been here, I haven't come across this situation. So from a legal standpoint, I would just throw that to Vicky.
Vicky? Hold
Well,
on.
I'm not certain. I think, I mean, you have to do it on a case by case basis. I think that the efforts were made to meet, the extensions. Uh, like I said, I think it's a hardship to say no because it's inactive. You have to start over. I don't know if that's fair.
All right, Robert, you were gonna say something, you want to speak, but before you say something, you're still, you can't sign up for the test, right, Deb, until you authorize him to go. And you hadn't authorized him because he didn't expand
He
it
didn't do his QE, right?
within 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and when did you take the last class and pass it?
I don't know the date off the top of my head. I believe it was the first week of February I passed my last test.
All right, so we're really talking 1 week here, right?
Right, the
Deb?
time frame it's not like an inordinate amount of time. I mean, if it was to me, if it was like 6 months after you told him it had to be done, it's a week.
All
I mean,
right.
yes, it's beyond the time frame, but it's not an inordinate amount of time that had passed.
All right, so if we approve 3 months, not so much 120 days, 3 months right now. Because I got faith in Robert here that he's going to pass this thing right away. So if we approved him for 3 months, that would bring him up to, in addition to 3 months, would bring him up to June 30th. Correct, Deb? Because we already
Well,
extended him to March, through March.
so you want to reactivate that, but it was contingent on the 30-day,
I know,
which he didn't meet. So he's asking, I don't know.
I know. All right, so all right, Robert, you want to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add that the extensions were granted for medical reasons previously.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners?
The only thing I could see with what you said, Mr. Chairman, acting chairman, 90 days, that's for the testing, correct?
Yeah,
90 days is for the testing, not 120, 90, yes. And
I
let's
think
move
that's
on.
fair.
Let's move on.
Maria, you got anything? You want- Jen?
I was just going to say that what Nora's just said and what we've been discussing sounds fair. Given that this isn't something I get that most of you guys have seen before, I was just going to follow with making sure that it's legally possible to do so.
Yes,
Right.
that's all. And it
And-
feels,
Yeah.
it feels right. It feels good by me. And if it feels good
Yep.
by everybody else,
All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion for 90-day extension.
Okay. Somebody want to
For
second
the
that?
this is for the PSI, the testing, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody want to
I'll
second
second
that? Okay.
And
Any
I
more
just
discussion?
think that the record should reflect, as he had indicated, that there had been, some medical issues, if you will, relative to this particular case or situation.
Yeah, and I also think the record should reflect that he really just missed the by one or 2 weeks, whatever the dates were,
Yes.
and it was
Mhm.
because of the testing. All right. All right, any more discussion?
Just confirming it is till the 90 days or the 3 months,
90,
June 30th,
90
correct?
days, sir. 90
Yeah.
days.
90 days.
I'd
June
like to
30th?
clarify, hold on, excuse me, I'd like to clarify that because are we granting? If it's till June 30th, that's under the assumption that the March 30th would have been in effect. Is that what we're saying?
That's a
Or
great
90
question.
days from today, which would
Unless-
put us at May 19th.
Unless Norris wants to revise his motion to extend it to June 30th, period.
But if 90 days, what would 90 days be again?
90 days from today or
Yeah,
90
from
days,
today.
pardon me?
90 days from today. How tough is it? How tough is it to get into PSI as of now?
It hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
hard. I
change.
mean, one of my staff tried to sign it up, and they gave her a date like way out. So I really think June 30th he can get in at least once. And then if he doesn't, then he just comes back and we deal with it then.
Okay, I'll revise it to June 30th.
You second that, Jen?
I'll second the revise. Yep. Mhm.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes.
Aye.
Maria's aye. Any nays? Anybody opposed? No. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you,
Robert,
everyone.
I'll give you
Appreciate
a
your
call
time.
later
Thank
and
you,
let you
Debbie.
know. Yep,
Thank you.
good
Take
luck.
care.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
Talk to you
Study,
guys later.
study
Bye-bye.
hard and good luck.
Yes, thank you very
Mhm.
much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Is Jerry back? No,
No, he's
Not
not.
yet.
he's sleeping on the couch or something.
I saw him walk to the chair. I think.
Should we jump into new business then?
That's a good one, John.
We'll
Here
jump
he
right in. Oh, here he is.
I'm good to go, folks.
You're good to go. Your show.
Okay. All right. So we've taken care of Mr. Nardella, I would assume. New business. Number 1, Michelle Gamache, RCG 1134, seeks 2-hour equivalent CE for attendance at the January 21st, 25 Economic Forecast Program presented by Metro Chapter of the Appraisal Institute. You saw my note, fellow commissioners, that I was not able to attend it this year because of other commitment, but we have always granted in the past, and it's one of the things that it is people go out of their way down in that area, make sure they don't miss, but others may have another opinion on this.
I make a motion that we give Michelle Camachi 2 hours of equivalent CE for this course, and also allow Debbie to authorize 2 hours to anybody else who submits it going forward.
Okay, there's a second.
Second.
Okay, I think I heard Norris beat you just to it, Jen. Sorry, I think, I heard his mumbling there, Questions or concerns? Hearing none, we'll vote aye.
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 Nay, abstentions. The only thing is, I always wonder why the Metropolitan New York chapter, they apply for New York and New Jersey. Why they just don't throw in Connecticut is unbeknownst to me, but it is what it is. We deal with it. All right, that takes it. Number 2, Real Estate Appraisal Commission meeting schedule. Number 2 for new business. Let me ask here, I don't know what this is totally on, but I had a comment, and this may be appropriate to come in right now. In April, we had the feds coming in from DC, do we not?
Yes,
Yes.
And we have historically always tried to make sure we had a commission meeting during their stay because they could say whatever they wanted to say and we could ask questions and so forth. Have we set the meeting up? Are we doing that again this year as we've done for as long as I've been here, or are we going a different path?
well, last year, or last time they were here, in 23, they attended, virtually.
But
Right.
when they've been here in person, we've sat
The
with them and
meeting,
what have you.
right. This time the meeting will also be virtual, so that we don't inconvenience them and inconvenience us, if you will, to the extent
Okay.
that we will be inconvenienced. So the meeting will be virtual, and then they are in attendance in person 2 weeks later, I believe it is.
Okay, so we are meeting, just so for my clarification, our meeting is April 9th?
Ninth,
Is
April
is
9th,
that
the
correct?
second, yes.
Okay, and then they will be, and they will be joining us on April 9th?
April 9th, they will be joining us virtually. Their visit is scheduled for the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th.
Okay. For you, Vicky, and you, Debbie, primarily, is there anything you need us as commission members to help or get the heck out of the way when they're here on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th? What do you need us? You don't want us? You tell us, or you're not sure and you'll let us know later. You tell me.
I think I would take option 3 at this point because we haven't received, the letter with their
Requirements, yeah.
agenda. Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, once we receive that, we'll get back to you.
Fair enough. Okay, so I did not mean to hijack number 2, but it was one of my 2 questions that they kind of dovetails into here. So the real estate appraisal commission meeting schedule.
I would like to say the reason that this is on the agenda today is because I've received an awful lot of feedback from the public and from appraisers, excuse me, that it's very difficult for them to come into the building to make the trek into Hartford and go through the process of attending in-person meetings. And we seem to have an awful lot of people who attend virtually. And so I was thinking, because of, and also winter with the unpredictable snowstorms and ice storms and everything else, I was thinking perhaps we could go to in-person quarterly beginning in June. Meet in person June, in person September, in person December. I think that's quarterly. Yeah, December.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the rest virtual.
Okay.
That's pretty much the schedule of the other boards. They meet quarterly in person.
Okay. Any comments from members? I'll start with the commission. I'll start with staff, and then I'll go to open it up to the general public. So we'll start with commission members. Any thoughts, comments, any statements? John, I
John, you're
see the
on
lips
mute.
moving, but you're mute. Okay.
I don't have an issue. So, but I don't have an issue.
Okay.
I just have a-
We're here to deal. Remember, we're here to deal with the public. So, like I said, whether it's virtual, whether we're there, I'm fine.
In that room where we meet, is it possible that if one of us can't be there, that we can still log in by Zoom and be on attend that meeting that way, or
Yes,
somebody from the public can log in and attend the meeting?
yes.
They do that
Well,
with
this
zoning.
this is Jay. We really discourage hybrid meetings because they never work out well. We really discourage it.
But to answer your question, could it happen? Yes. I have hearings in person. The attorneys are in person. My witnesses are on Teams because so many of them are elderly. And we have it in the hearing room. We haven't had any problems, but
Okay.
so it can happen, to answer the
Alright.
question. Not like Jay said, it may be discouraged, but it can happen. And it's
Okay,
not
I'll-
something that would happen, all the time. It's just,
Okay.
I'm okay with
depends.
quarterly.
Yeah.
Okay. Jen and Maria, you have any comments or you're fine?
Nope, it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything that stimulates more public participation.
Okay. Um, any other thoughts of staff before I open it up to the general public? Hearing none, and now it's open for any comment by members of the general public who are joining us this morning, or for those joining us, welcome. Hearing none. Okay. Do we need to make it a motion, or what do we want to do here? What's the process here? As we speak today, this was supposed to be an in-person meeting. And then in January, we said, hey, given the weather of February, we're going to dodge it, this year, but last year we didn't dodge it. You know how all things work. Then we were going to be meeting in person in next month, March. Am I correct on that? I just want to make sure I'm not are we still meeting together in March,
Yes.
in Hartford this year? Then we will then meet again in, did you say June?
June, September, December.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for such?
I'll make a motion to do Connecticut Real Estate Appraisal Authority meetings quarterly.
Okay. So do we want to go like March, June, September, and December? Is that correct? Am I on target with that, folks?
Yes,
Yep.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
I have Maria on a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Ayes,
Aye.
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 nays. Okay, we're good. Listen, anytime we get more people involved, the better. That's my thoughts on it here. Okay. John, look like you're going to say something. No?
We're still off in August, right?
Yes.
That's
Unless
correct.
there is a dire emergency.
So September is gonna be in person.
Yep.
All right, and then, because I had it the other way around. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Very good. All right. And then number 3, I'm sorry. Debbie, you brought this to the floor on number 2. Is there anything else you needed clarified, answered, or what have you?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, update, the valuation of bias and fair housing course. All ears after someone who just sat through it last Thursday virtual for the 4-hour update for our great state of New York. And go ahead, Debbie.
Well, we have one school who has submitted a course. It's on the agenda today.
Yes.
And I sent you the course materials and the AQB criteria because it has to meet everything in that criteria book. So
And
that's as
correct me
far
if
as I
I'm
got on
wrong,
it.
that is the minimum level, what they
The
put in that
minimum,
criteria bill. If
correct.
a state like Illinois wants to enhance it, meaning if you are domiciled in a certain jurisdiction in the city of Chicago, you are blessed that you have to take an additional class on top of that. So just to let everyone know, this is the minimum level here. Okay.
Mhm.
Any questions by members? I'm going to open up Scott DiBiasio. I believe you're with us. You're on mute. If you could take yourself on mute, and if you could get on the camera, you had brought some important information on this topic a month or 2 ago, if my memory serves me correctly. And just give an update of where you said it wasn't as easy as possible, or what you thought from Appraisal Institute of upgrading a 5-hour course to a 7-hour course or whatever. Could you kind of give us an update of what's going on in what you're hearing within the industry?
Sure. I can tell you from our perspective, we are still in the process of developing initially the 7-hour course to be followed by the 4-hour course probably a few months thereafter. As Ms. Yonosi indicated, another provider has submitted their course, and I do not know if they've gone through the AQB approval process or if they are intending on doing it on a state by state basis. But I can tell you that the institute will have our course available in the marketplace prior to the requirement going into effect on January 1st of 2026. We're hearing of more courses that are in the development stage. Talked to another provider here in Chicago yesterday, and he indicated that he has developed a course or is in the process of developing a course and will be submitting it to individual states for approval here in the somewhat near future. So providers are reacting to the need in the marketplace, and there will be several courses that are available to meet the 7 or the 8 hour requirement if it's somebody that's taking it for qualifying education for the first time. But those courses will be available within the next couple of months, and you have one on your docket for approval today.
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Thank
answer any
you.
questions. I'm not sure if that answered your question,
well-
Commissioner Rasmussen, but I'm happy to clarify anything if you have any additional questions.
Well, I do, and this is, and feel free other folks to jump in. Here's my concern. We're now February, by our state statute that we have had come through the legislature and all this stuff, that everyone has to be done have all their CE done by the end of January of next year. So if they're just bringing it to the marketplace in early January, it's going to be a run to the roses. There's one thing called the Kentucky Derby. We'll have the Hartford, whatever, Hoofer or whatever we want to call it, trying to hustle to get through this. So I am a little concerned of, looking at that. And I'm going to ask this to Vicky, legally, in the event that there aren't a lot of offerings and John Q appraiser or Sally Q appraiser comes through, do we have the ability to extend the January 31st deadline to say the end of February to help the marketplace? I don't know how DCP looks at it, or Jason, Vicky, Debbie, whoever has an answer, or am I just asking a question well ahead of the time before it comes to be?
No, I mean, I think you have to think, I don't know, proactively and what needs to happen. I think we cross the bridge when it comes, but if there needed to be an extension, that would be something that we could ask for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would we ask that from? The state legislature? Is that the commissioner of all DCP? I'm sorry I don't want to belabor this, but I'm trying to be prepared because maybe we've been through these type of things before. And I'm trying to think of the John Q appraiser out there trying to get this CE done, and I don't want an undue hardship. That's what I'm concerned about.
I can find out what the process would be and
Okay.
have something. Yeah. I don't want to misspeak.
No,
'cause
I understand.
It'll
I'm
stay in your
throwing a
mind as to what the
I'm
right-
throwing a
yeah, but I-
hypothetical, but it's
No,
not
and I
so
think it's a good
hypothetical.
No, it's not so hypothetical. Yeah, so I will find out what the process would be if we needed to extend. I think it will be easy enough to do because it's a real situation. I mean, I'll find out.
Yeah. Okay.
I do
Scott,
know that.
Oh,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead, Debbie. No,
I do
thank you.
know that there is a school, other than the ones that Scott had mentioned, that told me that they are, their development process looks to have a release date, by early summer. So I'm thinking June.
Okay.
And I think it's also important to remember that most of these courses are going to be done asynchronously online. So they'll be available at any time. So there won't be any, scheduling concerns or availability of in-person classes and such. So as Ms. Yonosi just mentioned, there'll be likely a handful of courses available in the marketplace probably by early to midsummer at the latest.
Okay. Okay. All right. Maybe I just wasted everyone's time for 4 or 5 minutes, but I'm just trying to plan ahead of, I can see where this could go, and I'm just trying to be proactive. That's all, nothing more than
I can
that.
appreciate that.
Are there other questions by members of the commission on this topic? Any by staff? The general public? Okay, we beat that horse. Okay, so thank you, Scott, and thank you for everyone. Legal, Connecticut appraisal law module update.
Okay, well, I can say that it's in the hands of management, upper upper echelon, if you will. It was given to them last week, and we are awaiting their approval. But I just wanted to also say that I really sincerely appreciate the time, effort, and the valuable insight of everybody who served on the committee and the contributions. I think the collaboration and dedication, have been instrumental in us producing, I think, a very engaging, informative, and relative course for this year. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I anticipate we will hear something by week's end, meaning Friday or no later than Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say we hear positive, okay, what's our next step or steps after that?
We would notify the schools and tell them if they would like to teach it, to offer the course, then they would just have to put an application in. They'd go on to, assuming next week it's approved, they would go on the March agenda. And then after their approval, then we would just send it out to them.
So really, we're looking at April-ish that we could really be sending this out to schools. Is that a fair interpretation?
I think that's
Yeah,
fair.
but yeah.
Okay. I'm just getting an idea. So that's good. It's like, we have these mandatory classes, so it's out there for
So
the
that would
public
give
to start to consume. Yep.
right, they would have 9 months. If it goes out April 1st, they would have 9 months to complete a 3-hour course.
Okay. Great. Any other questions by members of the commission on this topic?
When it gets approved by the state upper people there, can it come back to us just so we can each have a chance to review it and prove it just
Oh,
for
absolutely.
typos? Okay,
Oh, absolutely.
thank you.
Okay.
There are no
Any-
typos, John.
Any staff other comments or general public comments? Okay, well, thank you. And Vicky, I echo wholeheartedly everything you said. Thank you for everyone who served, everyone who took the time and the time, and especially a tip of the hat to you, Vicky, and you, Debbie, for the hours that you did behind the scenes, getting those meetings to be that we went through. So thank you for everyone and the members of the commission and the people on the committee. And Jackie, thank you for your invaluable insight and being there. Great. DCP investigations, appraisal investigation case report status.
There's no change from last month. Nothing new came in, thankfully. We still have 16 outstanding, waiting.
Okay.
Well, not
So
waiting, they're in process.
16 cases are in the queue.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions by members of the commission? Staff? Public? Okay. We move on to number 2, appraisal discipline report to National Registry.
No discipline since the last,
Okay.
I believe.
All
There may have
right.
been one. I'll double check on that and I'll make a note on it, but I believe there's nothing. Yeah, because I didn't close a case since the last one, last time we met. So
All right. Good. Thank you. Now we get into course approvals. And there's the problem when you have a flight going cross country for me to go through everything uninterrupted. So I have 3 or 4 questions, if I may. Okay. And I'll open it up and Jackie, you please feel free to jump in, or Scott. I'm looking at AAL 1373 and AAL 1374, the manufactured homes classes by the Appraisal Institute. And we've always been on on full hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 5 hours on 4. And years ago, we were highly discouraged to not do half hours, because if you ever got to the point someone's a half hour short, can't you round it up and it doesn't meet? And I remember, and I'm going back many years ago, when our friends in DC came for their audit, many audits ago, strongly discouraged half hour blocks, going whole hours to avoid a potential conflict down the road. Is there something that has occurred of why, of all the Appraisal Institute classes that they put through all the years, this is a half hour added on instead of calling it 7 or 8 hours? I open that up for a question.
I'm happy to try to answer that. And it may be that we have some new people in our compliance area, and they may not be familiar with the whole hour requirements. And that course, maybe 7 hours with an exam or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I am actually going to see our director of education here in about an hour, as well as our new state compliance team. So I can make them aware of that. But I don't see any issue with you approving it only for 7 hours.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Thank you. And my only other question, then I'll open up for anyone, was on, thank you, Scott, APR 368. Is that correct? Did I see that right? 60 hours that they're looking for? That's the first one on the list.
Yes, yes. Let me just double check.
Yep.
Yes, 60 hours.
Okay. Is that a pre-qualification course? That was like the old society used to have the procedures and principles all wrapped into one years ago.
It's pre-qualifying, yes.
Okay. Okay. I just, are there any other questions by members of the commission to what's been presented here?
I have two, Jerry.
Go
So
ahead.
on the email that I got for AAL 1361 did not have the course material in it. It had the resume and all that kind of stuff, but the actual course outline itself was for the one below it, non-lending appraisals. Was there another email that went out that had how to support and prove your adjustments?
I believe so. Yeah, I sent that email
second
right
one?
after it. Yeah.
All right, so I didn't look at that one. So if someone else looked at that one and had no issues, okay. But I do have an issue with AAL 1362, non-lending appraisals, expanding your appraisal practice. And in the past when we've talked about business and running the business, that's really not going to appraisal education for the license. So I have a problem with approving that class. I don't think we've approved something like this before.
I think you're right, John. Okay. Okay. Other members of the commission, any thoughts? Okay.
You want to table it,
Or we just don't approve it?
or we just don't approve it? You need something more? You guys need something more? Some more information? If you want to table or don't approve?
No, I don't
John,
need
what do
any
you
more
want?
information. I just don't think it's applicable to actual appraising. It's about running a business and expanding the business. And I know this has come up before and we have not approved it. So if nothing, I
I'd like
can
to make that motion, whatever motion you want to make.
I
Okay.
make a motion that we approve all the classes except AAL 1362, and as part of that, AAL 1373 and 1374 are only approved for 7 hours.
A motion is on the floor. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Jen has seconded. Discussion with members of the commission. Hearing none. Any thoughts by members of staff? Hearing none. Any comments by the general public on this?
Mr. Chair, this is Scott DiBiasio again with the
Yes.
Appraisal Institute, if I may. And I hesitate here for a second because I think I may be opening a can of worms, but For some of the courses that my organization has submitted, it indicates that they were submitted with AQB approval only. And if I'm assuming correctly that some of these, and I'd have to check with our folks internally, some of these are online asynchronous education. How are they being approved with AQB only approval and not having IDEC approval? Because the way that I understand it is your laws or regulations specifically require IDEC approval only and don't give providers the option of utilizing the AQB approval process for distance education. Maybe that's a question for Debbie, I'm not sure.
Or Vicky, Debbie or Vicky.
Vicky?
I have to look at the regs. Continue. Hold on.
Vicky, I can give you a citation if that helps.
Yeah, I have it here. Go ahead.
20-512-4 in the last sentence, subparagraph E.
Okay. Or subparagraph E state.
Scott, let me ask you, did the Appraisal Institute apply for IDEC approval on these or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're in a period of transition because the AQB does now have their distance education approval mechanism in place, but there are some states, and I think Connecticut is in this boat, that still require IDEC certification exclusively and don't allow for an option for AQB approval of the delivery mechanisms.
And that is why we have Vicky and legal.
I'm looking. Okay, you said 20-504.
No, 20-512-4.
512, that's right. Hold on.
Subparagraph E and the final sentence.
Okay. All right, let me go to the regs if I may. You can continue on. I'm looking it up.
Okay, well, we're going to move, we have a motion and a second. And while this is being researched, we're going to move to something else and we're going to come back to this, okay, for the efficiency of time. Thank you for bringing this up, Scott. I mean, Mr. DeBasio, okay, and while we're looking at that. We have comments or concerns on any other person present today. I do have a situation here. I have received, and Jen, you being part of the assessment community in the state, you may know a heck of a lot more about this, but to bring it up, please, okay? I'm just setting the table. We have a number of assessors called me last week concerning the department issuing a cease and desist to on the Sansone matter, you know, a few months ago or whenever that may be. And they were asking for they being members of the assessment communities from various communities within the state are asking for a copy of that decision. Is that given out? This is an area I don't know a lot about. So that is why, Debbie, feel free to jump in, or Jen, or someone who knows more about that, because I do not know the answer.
Jerry, you're talking about the case?
No, well, please, Debbie, go ahead. You know more about this, right?
Well, it was a complaint that was, it's a
complaint.
closed case. It's a closed case.
Right.
I'd like to defer to Vicky so I don't say
Okay,
anything I'm not supposed to.
all right.
In
because
that
once
in that particular case, we had received a complaint and we sent them a letter to cease and desist. We got no response. As a matter of fact, one of the concerns that the department had was that whether or not they even had a presence in the state of Connecticut. As a result, the mail that went out to them came back, wasn't signed for. They said that they had a presence in Connecticut on one of the larger I say buildings in Connecticut. It came back as undeliverable. It came back as returned. We never had any response, but we did send out a letter to them relative to a complaint that had come in.
Okay. The calls, and that's multiple, that I received from the assessment community say that they have cases on their docket, appeals going on within their jurisdictions by this entity. And they would like a copy of that decision issued by the department.
It's
So
just a
they can-
letter, and
I-
that's fine. It's available. The case is closed. I'm looking at, I had to go to the thing. The
Okay.
letter was sent on July 8th, 2024. Like I said, the company was on 100 Pearl Street, 14th floor, but again, the mail came back and went certified mail, and in that, the department had opened a case against Samsung Company for violations of two things, Chapter 735A and Chapter 400G. 75, Chapter 735A was is in reference to the misuse of the Connecticut state flag. As part of their website and their advertisement, they had indicated that they appeared to be associated with the state of Connecticut by having their flag on the advertisement. The department had determined that that's illegal and considered conduct of a character likely to mislead the public. Moreover, that constituted engaging in untruthful and misleading advertising. So we had asked them to stop, cease and desist with that. Relative to the issue regarding the appraisal matter, 20-5043E, that the employees had been identified as tax analysts, and their assessment work may be construed as engaging in the real estate appraisal business. And it said that it appears that your employees are providing valuation services for property located in Connecticut without being licensed appraisers in violation of the statute. So we asked them if they wanted to respond, they could have. The department requests that they cease and desist from using unlicensed individuals to provide valuation services.
But hey, Vicky, can I ask you one quick question?
Yes.
Can the assessors just do an FOI? You guys give it to them?
Oh, yeah, right. They can ask for a copy of the letter, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just do an FOI and they'll give it to you.
Okay. So, Jen, you're very involved with the assessment community. Is there something you want to add? Because I guess from my understanding with the calls I was receiving last week, this is not an isolated case, it sounds like, with them. So I will respond back to the individuals who called me on it here, but that's something you could let the public, the assessment community know? Because I didn't know if they wanted you to speak for them or what have you. I'm just setting the table. I did not know the answers to the question presided here. So is there anything more you want to add or subtract? Because it doesn't sound like it's just one or two things. Sounds like it's across across the board. No, not on that, Vicky,
Well,
but I mean, cases being before the different communities
it's a
on appealing.
statewide, yeah. I think it's a statewide issue. I don't know that there's any town that hasn't dealt with them, especially after a reval. I'm thinking we have an executive board meeting next week on Tuesday, I believe, where I could certainly disseminate information. I mean, we also have a hotline where we could use that too. However it needs to be, but assessors don't have a lot of tools when facing with them. They're aware that something happened, but without something in hand, I think that's where they're running into problems at court.
So if an assessor from XYZ Connecticut community would like a copy of that decision, should they go to you, Debbie? They go to you, Vicky? Just tell me the procedure so I don't speak out of turn. Okay, tell me.
They can, sure, you can share my email. They can reach out to me and I can give them the process of how to get that. I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
The thing of it is that I think I'll say the better way to handle, well, you'll know, if they ask for it, just go through what's called GovQA. That's for FOI requests, because it would be considered a FOI request. The case itself is
Mhm.
closed, so as a result,
Okay.
it would be available. But I guess the best way to go about doing it, to me, would be to if they make a request, just make it an FOI request, and then it will be sent out. That way,
Right.
there's a record of it, and there's no issue, if you will.
Okay, any other, I'm going to ask one more question, but I want to make sure, any other questions by the members of the commission on this matter?
Yeah, I'd like to, I gotta be careful what we're saying, because I know we're being recorded, because I do a lot of litigation work. I mean, I'm supposed to have a trial tomorrow, just got settled, and it's all tax appeal work, and 95% of it is for municipalities. And there are other companies out there that represent property owners, but one in particular I know of that does not pretend to be an appraiser, does not come up with values or anything like that. So are we saying that you gave us, I want to make sure I got this right. You gave, Vicky, the state gave a cease and desist order that they cannot give a value at all unless it's by a licensed real estate appraiser?
What we did was copy the statute, yes.
So if they gave a value already, then they were in violation. Nothing new, right? It's existing law.
That's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
And they've been served a cease and desist back, did you say July or August?
It was
of,
July. The letter was
okay.
dated July 8th,
Okay.
2024. I was just looking at the letter. Hold on. The letter was July 8th of 2024.
Okay. I know we have to choose our words carefully here because not to be prejudiced and so forth. In the event that the company was still moving forward and they went to another municipality and allegedly gave a value on a property, and if that municipality, the powers to be, happen to make a complaint to the state of Connecticut, that's a whole new case. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct.
Yes.
That I'm choosing my words very carefully not to prejudice anything. Okay, so that was for information purposes I just want to make sure it's clear. So there was a complaint made, a department made a decision. That decision included a cease and desist on the company within the state of Connecticut on tax appeals. I'm just summarizing what I'm hearing here. And therefore, if anyone wants a copy of that, they will go through the proper procedures of
FOI request.
FOI, thank you. And that's what I will say. That you can get it, but you got to go through the FOI, and I send them to you, Debbie.
Yes, and also too, for your, just for your, information, I am sending you the link to the, FOIA, online FOIA, request form,
Great. Okay.
doing that right now.
All
And
right.
if any municipality wanted to follow through, though, they would need to take their own action. That's right. That's the second part of this.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's where they would contact me, for information.
Is there a case number for this? Our state case number? I mean, how do they know what to request?
You would just ask for any correspondence, any letter from the department. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the letter right here, January 8th, 2024, but any letter involving Sansone, Joseph C. Sansone Company, that's the name of the company. They have two addresses. One is in Missouri and one is here in Hartford, Connecticut, but yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
A-
I kind
a-
of forgot
any-
what I was
No,
doing.
no, no, I'll come back to you. This is intertwined here, okay? Are there any more questions on, and I'll call it the Sansone topic? Hearing none, then we're going to revert back to you, Debbie, given the course with IDEC and so forth. The floor is yours.
Okay. Uh,
Or Debbie and
So-
Vicky, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
that's okay. So, as far as the IDEC goes, the courses that are indicated no IDEC or no AQB or AQB only, that's how they came in. If they did not have the AQB certificate, or if they had the AQB only certificate, excuse me, that's what I meant to say. They had AQB only certificate, then there was no need to send you the materials, the course materials to look and see what they are. If they had no AQB or the IDEC only, that's when you received a copy of all the materials. I just looked to see that there were materials. I can't ascertain if they were going to be online or in class or online only. That's just the way they came in. As Mr.
Presented.
DeBazia had mentioned, there's like new people that are learning the system, and they're trying to work out the tweaks. So that's all I have to say about that. That's how they came in.
Okay,
And I looked through the list, and I'm specifically referring to the aforementioned manufactured housing class, as well as the class that's listed, the appraisal of medical office buildings. Those courses are online courses. And the way that I read your regulation is that because they are asynchronous online, they need to have IDEC approval specifically of the delivery approval, or excuse me, the delivery mechanisms. And I just don't want you to get into a situation with the appraisal subcommittee where you've approved courses for continuing education credit that don't have that IDEC approval. And even more so, I don't want folks in Connecticut to take those classes and for some reason not be able to get credit later on down the line because they were not IDEC approved. So if you require IDEC approval of online continuing education, I need to let our folks know that they have to have IDEC approval in order to be able to submit those courses to Connecticut for continuing education credit.
thank you for bringing this up, Scott. Vicky, on the legal side,
I agree.
okay, so where does that leave us this morning with these classes? We approve it, or we don't approve? Let's make sure we do this the right way.
Scott, could you please tell me, could you just repeat those course numbers, please?
Sure. 1 second. AAL 1374 and AAL 1382. And interestingly enough, I looked while you were having the other conversation, and those courses are not approved in other states that specifically require IDEC approval only. We've submitted them to the states that allow IDEC or AQB, but Connecticut is one of the states that requires IDEC only. And it doesn't appear as if we have IDEC approval for those courses.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to table those? for
I
next month?
think it might be best for the Appraisal Institute classes, we table these until maybe Appraisal Institute gets IDEC approval or resubmits, and not trying to hold up the game, but there may have been a goof here. Okay, let's just leave it at that. All right, in fairness to everybody. So let's go right from the top. Okay, which ones would be, okay, any issues with APR 368, 369, 370, AAL 1338 with the 18 hours, 1341, AAL 1341, AAL 1343, AAL 136. That is 1, 2, 3.
1346.
One,
Yeah,
one,
three,
three,
four.
four, six.
6. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right.
It-
Can I entertain a motion to accept those courses as presented? Hearing
I'll make
none,
the
I'll
motion.
call it a second time. Can
I'll make the
do I hear a motion? Norris has made a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, discussion. Hearing none. Anything from staff on this? Anyone from the general public? Hearing none, I'll call then the motion for a vote. Ayes,
Aye.
I,
Aye.
nays, abstention. John, you're on mute, just to let you know.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm still a little confused, but I'm gonna go with the flow here.
okay. So that there is, now I'm going over to the second page here. Okay, and we'll go through each one. If there's an issue that I'm going through, I'm doing them in blocks, okay? AAL 1352. AAL 1353 has AQB only from the Kaleidoscope Group. AAL 1354. AAL 1355. AAL 1356. That has one also just says AQB only from McKissick. AAL 1357. No AQB or IDEC. Okay. I'm going to make a suggestion that we pull that one out. I have some questions on that. Okay. So that we're pulling that one out and we'll discuss that on a separate matter.
And I think just to make it easier for you, Commissioner Rasmussen, I think, for the continuing education, any of them that don't have IDEC approval and their online education, I'm not sure you can approve them. Now, there are some qualifying education courses included in that list, and that's an entirely different story. But for continuing education, if they are online, asynchronous, then they have to have IDEC approval. And I think that's true for the courses that are listed here for some of the other providers as well. Now, I can point out which ones from my organization are online, asynchronous, continuing education. But I think that's the point that I'm making is true for other providers as well.
I understand. And that's why we're going through each one for a comment to be brought up here. Vicky, would you
Yeah.
weigh in on this, please?
No, I agree.
Okay, so the way I'm hearing this, outside of what we just approved on those APR classes, okay, it might be best we table all of these until things get cleaned out into next month. Any disagreement in that thought process by members of the commission?
No?
No, I just have a request that in the past, when we list the courses, we always put all the ones that have AQB and IDEC approval first. And then we usually approve those in bulk. And then we go through the ones that don't. Usually there's only a couple, but this time there seems to be quite a few more.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Someone was going to say
Yeah,
something.
I can make that change, but since I've been here, we've been doing it numerically. So maybe it just seemed that way. And also too, I would like to ask, do I send out, should I send out a notice to all the schools to identify whether they're going to be in classroom or not? Because, like
Yes.
for instance, okay, all right,
I think yes. Okay.
okay,
How's their delivery? That's all.
okay,
And there's 3 phases. Either they go online, they can do the virtual, or it's a classroom.
okay.
Okay. Those are the 3 components. So we will have here. So is it, are we in agreement then outside of what we just approved, those 6 or 7, that we now table these to next month until we get this clarification by all?
Okay.
Jerry, I have a question. So just to make sure I'm understanding it, what the issue is for the last three on that first seven,
Mm-hmm.
are we still comfortable with those because it says AQB only for 1341 and 1346?
I am. I'm personally,
Okay.
but maybe you, Ms. Buchain has raised her hand. The floor is yours.
So just to confirm, are you suspending approval of everything that is on the list or only certain ones?
We are suspending from 1352 through the balance through AL 1385.
Is there a way for us to go through these courses? And I'm speaking on behalf of the Appraisal Institute. Scott, maybe you can interject, that we know which ones of these courses are being in person versus, only because I have a class coming up. This is about the Connecticut chapter right now. The Uniform Appraisal Standards of Federal Land Acquisitions, which is AAL 1370. That course is expiring and we do have an offering of that coming up, and it will expire before your next commission meeting.
And that's a classroom course, correct, Jackie?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So what we're talking about here would not apply to that. So I don't want to put words in the commission's mouth, but I don't think it would be an issue for them to approve that course right now.
Right, that's a traditional course, so I think we're all set.
And there's several Appraisal Institute ones that are not on, and maybe some of them are, Scott. Maybe is that what you're
But
referring to? Some
we're
of the
not
other.
going to be jumping around and guessing what the
I
appraisal
understand.
institute
No,
is doing.
I understand. So I guess personally,
Okay.
I'm concerned about the 1370, and if you would be able to make a motion on that if you feel comfortable, because we have an in-person offering on May 5th and 6th. Thank you.
We meet in April.
Unfortunately, when
March.
folks, it'll miss the deadline expires, and when folks go to register, they're going to get a warning that it's not approved in the state.
Okay,
Hence my
that's fair.
concern.
No,
Do,
I got
do
you.
I
Thank
do I
Thank you.
do I hear a motion to approve AAL 1370 for 14 hours or in person? John, your lips are moving, but you're on mute.
This damn mute thing. I make a motion that we approve AAL 1370 for the 14 hours.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Calling a second for the second
Second.
time. Jen has seconded. Discussion? Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstentions. So that is, we will approve that. The balance are until we get clarification and clean this up here. Okay,
Jerry,
and we
can I
will
make-
address it. Yes,
Can I
go ahead, John.
interject? I think it might be prudent that we just, to save time, make a motion that we do not approve AAL 1362 now and just get that over with.
Okay, have you reviewed it?
Yeah, that's the one expanding your appraisal practice. It's talking about other
Okay.
markets, to going
Yeah,
into
fair,
divorce
fair
work.
enough. John, if you want to make a motion.
I make a motion that we do not approve AAL 1362 at all.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Norris. Discussion? Hearing none? Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions? Okay, we don't approve that class. Okay, so we were going to be next month, being the great month of March, with the eyes of March on us here, we are going to be into courses up to our elbows and so forth, but let's make sure it's done right. Mr. DeBazio, I thank you for bringing it to our attention. I do.
Absolutely.
I
And
do.
unfortunately, the list of courses that you have in front of you today from the Appraisal Institute, I'm not 100% sure which ones are online and which ones are in person, other than the two that I had identified, the manufactured housing course and the medical office buildings. I've confirmed that those two definitely are online, so they would need the IDEC approval. But I think you did the right thing. And I'll touch base with our folks right now to make sure that they know that you require IDEC approval in Connecticut for online asynchronous continuing education.
I think there might be some indigestion for lunch by some folks. Okay. So, very good. Okay. All right. Any other comments that need to come before us today? We've
No,
covered
thank you, everyone.
when the folks are coming in from our good friends from DC. We've talked about the Sansone. No other comments? Okay, well,
Commissioner
as I opened it up,
Rasmussen,
yes,
thank you for the opportunity to let me have that course approved. I appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, everyone, stay healthy, huh? There's more people under the weather than we can shake a stick at. So to you and yours, stay clean, stay clear, and nothing but good health. Can I get a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
A second, Maria. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays,
Aye.
abstention. Thank you, everyone. 9:50, and some very good discussions here today. Hey, have a great month, okay? Take care.
Keep the
You
faith,
too. Bye,
everybody.
Thank
everyone.
you.
All right. Be well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.